I saw that there's a movie on Netflix directed by Catherine Bigelow and written by Noah Oppenheim. And I mentioned the writer here specifically because he has credited the Making Sense podcast with the title of the film.
I listened to this podcast, and the guy said, it's like we all built a house filled with dynamite. Making all these bombs and all these plans, and the walls are just ready to blow. But we kept on living in it.
So, of course, I had to watch it, and it scared the shit out of me. How about you?
Oh, I thought it was very effective. It was like the world's most effective PSA, right? It's just a very, I mean, it's a film, with great actors, but it really plays like a PSA because it is just exposing how morally insane and psychologically implausible our nuclear status quo is, right? I mean, it just, for people who haven't seen it, I'm not giving anything away, it depicts an America that is now on the receiving end of a single incoming missile, presumed to be a nuclear first strike, the source of which can't be identified because I think the satellite that would track that was jammed. And now we've got 20 minutes to decide whether to return fire. And so our doctrine is to launch if there's, if incoming missile, especially in the case where you have more than one incoming missile, and there's this prospect of having our launch capacity destroyed by a first strike. If we see a bunch of missiles coming our way, the doctrine suggests that there's some version of our retaliating before anything has landed, before we know for certain that this isn't some kind of radar error, et cetera. So, but when you actually look at how this unfolds psychologically and socially among all the participants, and this is not the first document to depict this, but in film form, this is the only one I know that's done it this effectively and has shown all these beats. It's completely insane, right? I mean, this is something that you can read about this at greater length in Eric Schlosser's book Command and Control, which shows our whole continuity of government plan and how we've trained for it. And there are these scenes in that book that there's similar moments in this film that show just how impractical and sometimes morally unconscionable the expected behavior is. So the drilled behavior is, certain key people need to be spirited away before the missiles hit. They need to be taken to some underground lair where they can ensure the continuity of government and in Dr. Strangelove style, repopulate the earth. So one of these drills, like an Army helicopter lands on the soccer field to grab, I think it was the Secretary of State or someone like that, who's at his daughter's soccer game, and he's expected to leave at that moment without his family to go underground, to continue the American project in the face of a presumed nuclear attack. And he's like, well, what are you kidding? I'm not getting on that helicopter, right? He's like, I'm not leaving my family here to die, right? And he knew it was a drill, but it was just like this is the plan, and it's insane, right? And what's especially insane is the doctrine that has to be that falls under the judgment of one person, the President of the United States, who has to decide with the clock ticking in mere minutes, in some cases like 6 minutes, whether or not to annihilate tens of millions or hundreds of millions of people as perhaps his last act on Earth, right? And usher in the extreme case, usher in a nuclear winter that more or less destroys everyone, right? I mean, and so who's going to do that? Who's going to think it's sane to do that? How is our deterrence against our enemies predicated on their assumption that our president will do that? The whole thing is bonkers. And anyway, the film gives you a glimpse of how bonkers it is.
Yeah, the film is really well done, and I encourage everyone to go check it out because it really is, as you said, a great PSA. But I just wanted to stay here for a second on, you've talked about this before. I mean, the mutually assured destruction, MAD concept does seem insane. I mean, if the president, whoever he or she is at that time, fires back, you said they'll go down as, potentially one of the greatest killers of humankind. in history.
Yeah. Well, not even potentially. I mean, just emphatically so. In addition to whoever sent the incoming missiles in the first place. Yeah.
Right. And so if they don't do anything and we lose 200 million Americans, but yet they spare the rest of the world, perhaps that's the better position.
Yeah. I just don't see how the expectation of retaliation is at all credible or plausible. I think it's important. I mean, mutually assured destruction is predicated on the bluff and the acceptance of that bluff that we will respond. But I don't think it is compatible with anyone's sanity to think that we really will respond. I mean, I think it's morally insane to think that, okay, we're going to all die here. Basically, we're going to be reduced to radioactive ruins, and whoever's left alive is going to be like the people on the perimeter of Hiroshima or Nagasaki moments after the blast. Because now, I mean, this is not what House of Dynamite depicts, but again, that was just a single missile. But in the true nuclear first strike concern against with Russia or now China, it really is a picture of, okay, we've got all these ICBMs incoming. There's nothing we're going to be able to do to stop them until we get some magical golden dome technology, which presumably we're now working on. But even there are reasons to believe that that's not something we're going to be able to rely on. But in the current case, we know we can't knock these missiles down. And if hundreds are coming in and they're all aimed at major cities and population centers, we're all going to die. So what exactly is achieved by now killing hundreds of millions of people on the other side of the world? Well, exactly nothing. And the only thing that could have been achieved was the credible threat of doing that would have stopped the incoming missiles in the first place. But that hasn't happened, right? For whatever reason, our deterrence has failed, and now the missiles are incoming. Honestly, I just don't see anyone in that position deciding to kill hundreds of millions of people. It just seems it doesn't serve any purpose at that moment. The purpose that was served was the bluff that was called, and now the bluff was no longer operative.